welcome to another episode of Wifey Wisdom. I'm so excited about this session. We've actually had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're pushing through it. Bethany is being patient with me, so I appreciate her. So we're going to make sure y'all get this information today, okay? So for those of you who are new here, welcome. Wifey Wisdom was created as a platform to help women who desire marriage just have a resource, just helping them to get in on the conversation. So this is just a candid, transparent conversation between women who are legally married, helping the women who desire to be legally married. So we're just going to be talking about Bethany's journey to marriage and just her experience with it. And ultimately, my goal is to let you know that there's no cookie cutter perfect way to get to the place where you desire, which is a committed marriage. So if you don't know me, my name is Shanique Luke. I'm a love preparation coach, and let's just jump in, right? So Bethany, thank you so much for coming back.
No problem.
And we're gonna push through and make this work. So tell me, how long have you been married?
Okay, so it's been almost 10 years. We celebrate 10 years in March of next year. And so we got married in 2012. We started dating in 2007. So we've been together for a long time.
Okay, and then I'll take a step back because I'll kind of bring y'all in. We did this, and it was not recording, so I apologize. Bethany is my soror, and that's how I have the opportunity to know her. But I apologize, I didn't give her the opportunity to introduce herself. So we'll just take a step back really quickly.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Bethany. Again, I've been married for almost 10 years. We have 3 children. Oldest, we have 2 sons and a daughter. My oldest is 15, almost 16. Then we have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. The girl is the 4-year-old. So she runs the house.
Yeah, my little one, she runs my house too. I was giving Bethany a hard time earlier because I said she looks like she's 15. No, youth is blessing you, okay? You do not look like you have a 15-year-old, 14-year-old.
Thank you, because it's rough because he's like 6 feet tall. And just like whatever at this point.
That is a blessing. Okay, so let's go back into how did you guys meet?
Okay, so we met at Georgia State. She wasn't my line sister yet, but my soon-to-be line sister in the future. She had won Miss Black and Gold, and so she was doing a program for her platform, like for breast cancer awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And Markel's an alpha, so he was there. And I was writing for, I think it was the Signal Girl. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I wrote for a few stuff that we don't bring up now. Anyway, so I was like, well, I can always, I can do a breast cancer awareness story anytime, right? So this would be a good story to cover. So I went, and he was there, and he said he saw me when I came in because I didn't know anybody. The only person I knew was my soon-to-be line sister, and again, that was like a little bit because I had did a story on her for Miss Black and Gold.
Mm-hmm.
So he saw me, and so he sat in front of me, and he turned around and he introduced himself, and I was like, oh, like I knew he was going to be trouble. I wasn't sure what the trouble was going to be because I was dating my oldest son's father at the time. We were very on and off, really off at this point, really, but I mean, whatever. But I wasn't thinking about anybody else at the time. But when I saw him, I don't know, it's just like I just knew that he was gonna be some trouble, and he was. But
good trouble, right? Okay, go ahead.
I didn't tell you this the first time. Mm-hmm. So when I got home, I went and I added him on Facebook, right?
Oh,
we're not supposed to do that. But I didn't, I just met him. I was new to campus, kind of. I didn't know, I didn't really know anybody but the people I went to high school with. Mm-hmm. So I added him because I didn't want him to forget me. And so literally like 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, he DM'd me and was like, dang, that was quick, wasn't it? I was like, well, I mean, you in my DMs quick, actually. So, but let him tell it. I was stalking him, but he was stalking me, so whatever. But I didn't tell you that earlier.
He saw you when you came in.
He did. And then he was in my DMs.
So when you added him, was it just the intention, like, oh, I can know somebody, or did you like have an eye for him at that point?
So I didn't, right? I mean, I thought it was cute, but like I said, I wasn't really thinking about dating anybody else at the time. I just something was just like, he seemed nice. I don't know. I should add him, and but I remember thinking like, okay, I'm gonna add him because I'm not trying to date him or whatever, so I don't need to wait no time and be no kind of way because
right. So there was like no. You know how we try to come off a certain way? You didn't have that because you were just thinking, okay, well, I know someone's face now.
Right. I was like, this is nothing. Let me just add him real quick. And then when he said it in my DMs, and I felt some kind of way. He was like, oh, that was quick, wasn't it?
So when you saw him, okay, now I didn't ask this the first time, but when you saw him, like, were you like immediately attracted? So
yes, I was. Okay. Like I wasn't thinking like, I'm gonna make him my man or nothing, but I definitely thought he was cute. He definitely, fit my type because I like nerds. He's a nerd. The cute nerd with his head on right. And then he didn't have the glasses on then, but he had them on. Like at some point when I realized he wore glasses, I was done.
Yeah, so when you saw the glasses, you were like, oh yeah,
this is it for me.
So you talked about his personality, like him having a really big personality before. Now, did that intimidate you to make you feel like he's not really like the type? Like, okay.
So he's definitely the most extroverted person I have ever dated ever in my life. I always went for the quiet guy and the quiet nerd in the room. I don't know. I like finding out who people are or whatever, without anything preceding them or whatever. But him, like I said, he's a nerd, but he's very much he loves people. He was, I like to say, the big man on campus because when we were undergrad, like we can go to Walmart or anywhere. Here's my cab, blah blah blah. Whatever. I told him he had groupies. I can't remember what he called them. Encouragers. I don't know. Some mess. I can't think of it right now that he called them. But yeah, so it didn't intimidate me because I always feel like if that's what you're trying to be into, if you're trying to juggle and all that, like not like I can show you how to juggle too, but I'm just saying, just let me know what you want to do because I can do me as well. So yeah.
So how long was it from the time that you guys met until you guys became a committed couple?
So we met in April, like the beginning of April. I only remember that because of Facebook, because I added him that same day. And then we got together for real, and that September. Because I was telling you about how I need titles. Like I said, I'm not trying to I promise I'm not trying to pressure you. I really enjoy you. Like I said, you if there's a list, you number one. I said that, right? But like people are asking me out on dates, I like to eat. I might got a date this Saturday. I'm just letting you know that I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? And because we're not together. And that Wednesday, he was like, will you be my girlfriend?
So it was easy for you to cancel that date?
Oh yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Markel really was like. I mean, there really wasn't anybody else on the list. Yeah. But I just always feel like, I mean,
you were open to.
If you ain't my man and I'm hungry, yeah. I mean, he my friend. Because these other folks, it wasn't like they were strangers. They was my friends.
Oh yeah, I got you.
They would feed me, and then somebody might say something to you. And I'm gonna be like, yes, that was me. I was there.
Yeah.
I ate.
That's so funny to me. So now that you guys are getting a little bit serious, kind of moving in that direction, did you know that you guys would be where you are now, like just from starting to get serious with him?
So like I said, I always thought he was special. Like I knew he was gonna be this big important piece. I didn't know how. I could never
Mhm.
have imagined where we are now, just in general, just because I didn't know what marriage was supposed to look like.
Mhm.
Um, or like I didn't have an example, that I really wanted to follow. So I could never have imagined that I would be like this with my husband in this lifetime. I don't know, like,
Mhm.
my parents are divorced and then they like lived together afterwards. It was weird. As a child, I ain't asked no questions.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know what I thought love was. So I could have
Mhm.
never imagined where we are now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always interesting to see or hear, I should say, um, your perspective as a woman,
Mhm.
from the beginning versus where you are. So it's always
Mhm.
interesting. I love to hear the stories like, no, I wasn't paying attention to him, or yeah, I have my eye on him, and then you turn around and it's like 15 years later,
Mhm.
he is, and you know what I mean? You have this
Mhm.
beautiful family. So it's always good to like reflect and be
Yeah.
like, I remember, like you said,
Mhm.
I knew there was something special about him.
Mhm.
Um, so now that you're like, you have your son, you're
Mhm.
going into this new relationship. Was there any challenge with you guys as became this committed couple,
Mhm.
especially with having a son before you guys were together?
Mhm.
Did you have any struggles through that transition?
So it was definitely different. I had I never really expected to be with anybody else because in my mindset,
Mhm.
I just was like, I'm gonna be with my son's father. We're gonna make this work for 18 years. I ain't, we ain't gonna be in love. We're just gonna be together. And then after that,
Oh,
I'm gonna go and do my thing. Literally, that was my real thought.
I
First of
missed
all,
that part. Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
think you could date. Like I was like, oh, I got a child. Like, nobody else gonna want me.
Um,
This is just what I thought. And I was young, and I just, it
yeah.
wasn't even like a this is a depressing thing. I just thought that's what it was. I really
Mhm.
did. So when Markel kind of made it known that, he wanted to date me, he knows that I have a son and he knows that he said, I'm a package deal and, and just all these things. And he was up for the challenge. Or I don't think he set up for a challenge, but just something like that to let
Yeah.
it be known that like I'm not trying to be friend zoned. Then like we really got serious. So um, on campus I didn't have my son, so and I would see Markel, so that's kind of where a lot of our dating happened on
Mhm.
campus. Hanging out in between classes, stuff like that. And then, we did Netflix and chill before that was even a thing. We would order some wings and he would come over because I was at my mama's house,
Mhm.
with the crib in my room. And we would watch a movie or whatever. And, my mom would watch Emmanuel and I could go to Markel's dorm and do the same thing there. So we didn't, it wasn't like, it, I don't know. It didn't seem hard at the time. The only thing that was difficult was when my son's father was like, I guess, trying to get more involved with
Mhm.
my son. And it wasn't always that way. Cause like I said, we were young. I'm not like trying to bash him or nothing. Everybody has to
Mhm.
grow up in their own way. And I had to do a lot of growing too. So then there came a point where he was like, I want to be more of a real father to him. And we kind of already had like a family going on over here. So it was like, and it's like, okay, sure. And so trying to piece that together is always interesting, but that has grown leaps and bounds. Like I said, that's a whole nother show one day if you ever want to do it. Cause
Okay.
it's like, it's really all God where we came from in that relationship
Yeah.
to where we are now in co-parenting and just everybody being on one accord for my oldest. So
Yeah.
that's really the biggest. That was really the biggest challenge.
Okay. And I wanted to kind of go back. You talked about feeling like nobody would really want to be involved with you because you had a son. I know that's a feeling that a lot of women have once they have a child and then they end up with someone or trying to just start fresh.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice would you give someone who may be struggling to feel like, because I've heard it before. What kind of advice would you give someone who has a child and wants to get to start dating?
Girls, men out there.
I know
It
that's right.
is. I mean, good men out there that'll do that role if need be. That'll be that whatever you need. If you need that father figure in your child's life, there's men out there that are willing to do it. They really are. Keep your watchful eye because it's weirdos out there regardless. Don't let any red flags with your children, just go, unnoticed or whatever. But other than that, they're out there and they, good men that'll, take care of you and your children.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you just have to hear someone say that in order to just be open to it, because I've had conversations with my girlfriends who have kids and, want to be married, but feeling like I'm not going to even try because, I don't want to get rejected, or just even being open to dating. Like, I know people who haven't dated, like they're like 15, 16, and they have not dated since they were with their father. So I know that's like a hard place to kind of move from. So I'm glad that, you were able to just be open to it. That's encouraging. How important was your relationship with God during the time that, you were, in the preparation season for marriage, just you as an individual?
So it's funny because I didn't say this the last time and I thought about it afterwards. So I had my baby, before marriage, whatever, fornication, right? So I always thought that was my sin, like that's the sin on my forehead, right?
Yeah.
And again, I didn't grow up in the church. My parents felt like they did enough church for all of us kids. So when I tell you we never went, I probably went with my grandpa and my grandma, maybe like a few times. So when I was grown, I really wanted to know God, and I did. I got to know him for myself, which was fantastic. And that was really around the same time me and Markel got serious. So it kind of nice that went together. But at the same time, so my biggest thing was fornication, right? I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna be abstinent, like I'm gonna give it up. We're gonna stop for a while. So just to make sure that we have more than that or whatever. Girl, I fail every time. I'm so thankful that the Lord loves us regardless.
But that's important to
It is.
just to say, you know what I mean? Because it's such a, we're not supposed to, it's so taboo. We're not supposed to talk about it, but these are actual things that people feel and experience. So you have a child, you feel like you said that stamp was on my head and you carried it, honestly, I thank God for Markel because he didn't care. It didn't bother him. He loved you and he loved your son. And it was like, that doesn't define her.
Yeah.
So it's really important to even be able to say, I failed, but you know what I mean? I still move past it. And sometimes we just let that stuff define us so much and keep us
right.
It paralyzes us. And then it prevents us from living a blessed life. Imagine if you let that define you and then it kept you from that relationship. You wouldn't be here today, or like, having your family, your baby girl, your other son, you know what I mean? So it's like, we have to have these types of conversations so that it's like, okay, if she did it, it's, I'm trying to do better, but I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just keep moving forward. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like it makes a difference, because we just punish ourselves so
Mm-hmm.
much.
And,
So
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. No, and what was great about Markel is that his parents have been married as long as however, like he's 35, so that whole time they got married. I think right after they had him, but his
Mm-hmm.
mom has a daughter, so he has an older sister. And so he always felt like, that's ridiculous for me to not. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people can have, their own standards and, who they want to date. There's nothing wrong with that. Because, I mean, would I want to date somebody with kids? Probably not. Um, um, but he was like, my mom did the same thing. Is she not deserving of love? Like, and he, like that was a real thing. And I always felt like with my son, again, I have physical proof of my fornication, but but everybody was doing it, you know what I mean? Just because,
Yeah.
just because folks they get pregnant or had,
Yeah.
or did whatever with their babies. Like, so that was a big thing for me growing up too, like to not let that block
Yeah.
the blessings that God had. Like he loved all the rest of us.
Yeah.
He gonna
Yeah.
love you too. So yeah.
Yeah. I always, it's something, and not to be super churchy, but my pastor talks about, what you do in the booth in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you say, the only difference is we were all doing the same. We were all doing the same thing. It's just that I have proof of what,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing in the back or whatever. So it's like, and that does not discount God's love for me.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can separate us from his love, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But we allow, it's us and the things
It
that
is.
we
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
We beat ourselves up because we made a mistake. But the truth is, we're always, even when we're the most perfect, quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote, perfect person that, we try to do
Mm-hmm.
everything right. We're never going to do it all right. We're never going to be perfect. So it's just important to have conversations where it's like, no, this doesn't define. We all make
Mm-hmm.
mistakes, and God still wants to bless us. And that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But religion teaches us so many wrong things about who
Mm-hmm.
he is. And even like you said, I had to establish a relationship with him myself, not based on my grandparents or
Mm-hmm.
my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to do that with your husband is really important. All right. So when you were in that phase of becoming a wife, was there anything that you struggled with, as you
Mm-hmm.
moved into that marriage or into your
Okay.
marriage?
So, so my mom raised me to be very independent. She was raised the same way. So I would say that, my brothers have that as a baby boy syndrome where the moms love on the sons and just go real hard with the daughters. And so that's what happened with me. That's what happened with her. Like my uncles, bless their heart, especially with some of them, they watching. But so I was that way. And that kind of attracted Markel to me, that I just was kind of doing my own thing or whatever,
Mhm.
just a little bit. But he still wanted to take care of me. So when we got married, in my mind, I would keep my stuff separate. I kept everything about my oldest separate, which was crazy because Markel was like, we putting all this together or whatever,
Mhm.
right? But he would be saying that, but I wasn't receiving it. And
Yeah.
I can't remember where I was when I just sat and realized that's what he was saying. Like, we're all one. Like, so
Yeah.
that was something that I struggle with. My own expectations of myself as a wife and a mother. Um, I struggle with that as well. So when we had our first son together, my second
Mhm.
son, a lot of that came into play because it was like, well, I know I don't necessarily want to be like my mom.
Yeah.
She was like a workaholic, which that was her thing.
Mhm.
I'll take care of. But his mom was the same, but she also took care of the house like crazy. Like I don't know how
Mhm.
she did. And so I was like, is that what he's expecting me to do? Like take care of this baby, work, keep this house clean. And that first of all, that just ain't gonna it wasn't gonna happen. And he said something that was it was just so plain, but it was so freeing to
Yeah.
me. It was something like, I don't care what this house look like. Something like that. Like, like I care about how you feeling or something. Just, it was real basic. It wasn't meant to be this deep moment, but it just made me realize I'm putting these expectations on myself. I'm driving myself crazy, trying to make myself be something I'm not. I can just be the best whatever I can be. And so that once I realized that, I just feel like a lot of things was different. I really felt more free.
Yeah. It's always those simple things that you're like, huh. You like hear it differently and just okay.
Right. Like I received it today.
Yeah.
You were saying it all week.
Yeah. That's funny. Like you say, sometimes you just hear things differently and it's like thank God for freedom, right? Release. And I think I'm going through that phase right now and I think it's just like you just want to be a good parent. You want to do things right. Like you said, I didn't want to be like my mom. So now here you are trying to just correct. And that it puts so much pressure on you for no reason.
No one else is saying it.
Yeah. We beat ourselves up so much. So I think I'm going through that right now where I'm like, okay, it's okay. The living room doesn't always have to be clean.
Girl, it won't be. He's up in here.
I was just like,
girl, do not pop up because you gonna get what you gonna get. I remember I cleaned up one time. My mom was like, "Oh, y'all got a maid. Y'all don't order the service." First of all, I cleaned up. I don't do it often, but I did. But she was being funny.
Like, oh, this is nice. No, I'm
this what this room look like.
I try to.
When I get to it, them kids' grades, they look good. Okay, they fed. I talk to them. Okay, we can't have both. Okay.
Do you want to be smart or do you want your room clean? Okay, what's important here? Listen, I'm new to this and I'm learning, so I'm taking notes. Okay, because I'm like that. Dude, these kids don't play fair. Okay.
No, they don't. Because they don't really care. They care, but they don't really care. Because they're like, take care of me. I ain't asked to be here.
Right.
But you can't pour from an empty cup. Like you always got to take care of you first, and then you'll be a better person. You'll be a better wife. You'll be a better mother. Everybody benefits when you are where you need to be.
Yeah, I had one of my really close friends, and she got married when we were like 25. I didn't get married until I was 37, and so I remember looking at it now was a luxury and a blessing, but his parents and her parents would take the kids every weekend. So like she always had, like they would rotate, every other weekend. So on the weekends, they were always kidless or kid free or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember like being not judgy, but judgy. Like, dang, girl, you ain't never got your kids on the week or what, like that. And she's like, oh, I need to give them, have them spend time with their parents so I can reset.
Yes.
And be a better mother. And I never looked at it that way. And I think, your eyes as a single woman, because you seek this perfection, especially coming into it, right? I think it's always those first couple of years where you try to show up as this woman that doesn't exist.
Don't. She's not happy if you do.
Right. And I think that's your perception as a single person as well. Because you don't really know until you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, look, as an outsider looking in, I'm like, how does she do that? But now it makes sense, right? Because you
Sure.
can't. You need a break. You need to be able to, just focus on yourself. And I don't think we don't see it. Not, I don't think, I know we don't see it when we're on the outside looking in. We're
Mm-hmm.
just so focused on trying to be married and trying to get there that we don't understand how much of a blessing it is to just focus on yourself. You know
Yes,
what I
it
mean?
really is. And I feel like I didn't do that until, like, for real, until the pandemic. Cause
Mm,
I
wow.
took leave all last year and
Mm-hmm.
I was home with my kids. And I just felt like God was like, no, you
Yeah.
finna get everything you wanted to take care of. You want a personal trainer online. You want to get therapy. We're gonna get you a therapist. Like, all these things was happening during that time. And I'm like a totally different person now.
That's
um,
that's
which is,
amazing.
yeah. And it was just really a time where I got to reflect on myself. Why do you think this way? Why are
Mm-hmm.
why are you like this? Why do you like these things? Why don't you like these things? Why do
Mm-hmm.
you speak up and don't speak up for this? And just, yeah. But basically what you said, just taking care of yourself is just, it really is a luxury. Everybody really benefits from that.
Yeah, and like you said, like I never, because you had your son when you were young, you never
Mhm.
really had a chance to really identify who you were as an individual.
And you know how many times I've been asked that question, like, what do you like to do outside of your kids or something like that? Or, who were you before you were a mom?
Mhm.
Child, I don't know. The
Right.
salutatorian of high school.
Yeah.
I didn't have that time at all. Like, I had my freshman year and I was at UGA.
Hmm.
Um, Girl, living my life. I don't know what I wanted to major in, like any other freshman.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, And then I became a mom, and then it was just like, well, okay, well, we got to make
That
sure
was the
that he's
focus.
right, and I'm gonna still stay in school because I'm good at school. I can
Yeah.
always do school. School is my thing. I can keep a scholarship. Um, but I didn't really know who I am, and even now when people ask, I'm like, I'm still learning. There's still things I
Yeah.
learn about myself, and it's fun.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. I think we don't have to put a time limit on getting to know who we are. It's an
Mm-hmm,
ongoing process, forever learning.
mm-hmm,
And we think there's supposed to be this certain place where it's like, okay, we finally have it together.
mm-hmm.
And I'm 40 and I'm like, okay, still learning.
Mm-hmm. I'm quick
Um,
to tell folks I ain't got it all together. Is that what you see? What picture is that?
See, that's the thing. Oh my God, we just talked about this. The pictures is
Yes.
like you see you with your husband and your kids.
Mhm.
It's like, man, I want that. Like, or
Girl.
she looks pretty and she looks happy, and it's like
Mhm.
that's all people see, but you don't really
Right.
know what's going on. What is she battling? What is she struggling
Mhm.
with? Whatever.
Mhm.
I think this for me, the last couple months have been the hardest time of my life. Like I cry all the time. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And of course, I'm not posting pictures of me crying.
Of course, right, right. You're not gonna see those pictures. You're gonna see the one where, for the most part, my
Yeah, I
face
got it.
looking right,
Yeah,
my angle good.
exactly.
It's gonna work. Like,
Okay,
what I
because
look like.
I use me a good filter. Okay,
Oh,
no shame
girl.
in my game.
I'd be like, which one of these got lashes?
And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
think when we start to lie to each other, and that's the
Mhm.
whole purpose of these conversations, is because people lied to me and they said their life was perfect when they got married. And then here I am trying to get here, fighting to get here, thinking that life was going to be easy once I walked down the aisle. And
Mm-mm.
it was like
Everything
the,
gets exaggerated afterwards. Everything. All that
so,
stuff come back.
yeah, it's like when I had Gabrielle, all of my issues amplified everything.
Mhm.
Things were coming up that I wasn't even trying
Mhm.
to. And it's like, wait, hold on. This was supposed to get easier. I found the love of my
Mhm.
life. I had the beautiful wedding. What happened?
Mhm.
I think the ish hit the fan after the wedding. Like
Mhm.
not in a bad way to reflect my marriage, but it was like my perspective changed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you see things so differently because now you have people you're responsible for. You know what I mean? Okay.
No, but
So
that's real. That is
yeah,
very real. And not to say like people, I think people think when especially when married people say that, oh, that means, oh, then it must be hell. Oh,
right.
he
Like you're
cheating his
unhappy.
ass. I mean, he cheating. I'm sorry, he cheating, or somebody getting abused. Like, no, just life in general. Still learning about you, him still learning about him. Us learning how to be together and parents and all that stuff. That's still real.
Yeah.
And it's great to have somebody that I'm crazy about to sleep next to and wake up next to, and to have, to be on each other's team. All of that is amazing, but that doesn't mean that we ain't still over here figuring stuff out
Yeah.
day to day, moment to moment, So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's oh, so I just appreciate that honesty. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
because I just feel like that's the one thing that single women need to hear because when a man shows up and he doesn't look perfect
Mm-hmm.
and he's offering you everything that you've been praying for,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you should just be open. Now, I'm not saying to settle by
No,
no means,
right.
but I think
Right.
we bypass so many good
So
guys.
many fantastic men talking about his shoes ugly. I had a
Girl, we
cousin.
can buy him some new shoes.
I was like, you don't like how he dressed. You could buy him a whole outfit.
Listen, let me tell you something. You know why? Do you know why the man looks better when he gets with a girl? Hello. It's like he didn't look like that before he got a girlfriend. You know why?
Yeah, because she'd be like, nah, you need to wear this color.
Right. No, that
He's
don't
like,
look
you know what, the dude look good. And then other girls be like, dang, he did come up. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Because
But no,
somebody
you're right. It's
just
not settling at
yeah.
all. It's you want those important things, like
Yeah.
the way he's gonna treat you, be attracted to him,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. By no means are we saying
Right. Don't close your eyes and stuff,
no.
but
Be
but
attracted to
the main things that are really important, like
yeah.
take that. And the things that can actually be worked on, work
Yeah.
on those. But like, big character flaws, don't do that.
Okay, right, exactly. Like we're not telling you to ignore the red flags,
Right.
but definitely the things that really don't matter and that
Right.
can be changed.
Mm-hmm.
I just see it all the time. Oh, I don't know about this. And it's like, how does he treat you? How do you feel when you're with him? Do you feel valued? Does he tell the truth? Are you
Mm-hmm.
attracted to him? You know what I mean? Like other things we can work through.
Mm-hmm.
My credit was not good when I
Mm-hmm.
like met Mario, but Mario taught me things about it, and now my credit is like A1. So it's like
Yes.
if he would have considered that, then we
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be together. But you
Exactly.
talking about his credit can change. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's like, of
Mm-hmm.
course,
So
allow
true.
him to be a man, allow him to do the things necessary just in a relationship as a man. So I'm not saying to take those things away from him.
Right.
Because we try to lead a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, pay attention to what's important in the long run.
Right.
Because, honey, that credit, listen,
It's true.
we can pay off a balance.
Mm-hmm.
We can get a
Mm-hmm.
collection, whatever. We can get it
Sure.
removed. So, and who knows, maybe you were put in his life to help him with that certain thing. That may be a
So true.
strength because you share your weaknesses and your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
You build each other up. So I think my whole point in having these conversations is so that women understand that it's not gonna be cookie cutter. It's not
Mm-mm.
gonna be perfect, but you can still be successful in your marriage
Mm-hmm.
through different speed bumps and trials or whatever issues in life, and that no one's perfect. At the end of the day, we're not perfect.
Right.
Okay, so if you could give yourself, your single self, one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Okay. So I told you earlier about like I was the one that would go in the phone, I would go in the email. I got to see talking to other women some kind of way. And then after a while, it's just kind of like if you go looking for something, you're going to find it. You're going to turn it into whatever it is you're looking for. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had like a come to Jesus moment. Like, well, I don't want to be in a relationship where I feel like I got to do that all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
cause he's not giving me any vibes to feel like he's out for the streets. So why am I doing this? Right. It's like self-sabotage. And the kind of relationship I want to be in or whatever. And girl, there really be nothing there. And then when we were dating, like, okay, I'm looking in your phone for stuff, but if you were to look in my phone, you might see some stuff that might not look right either. So like, why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah.
So getting rid of that part earlier in the game, I think I would have told her that. There's a lot more stuff I would have told single me before my oldest child, before rather than single me before my husband. Like, girl, leave them boys alone.
No, I definitely agree. Social media was such a hard part, and Mario was younger than I am. So when we started dating, I remember like the Twitter thing, and I never was on Twitter before. But when I started dating him, I just got into it heavy, and it started to change who I was. And I'm like, I had to take a step back from it. So I agree, absolutely with that. Okay. This platform is created for women who desire marriage. They may be a little older and they're struggling with really getting to a place where, they may be losing hope. They may feel like it's never going to happen, or just being discouraged. The ratio, the statistics, it's starting to really take a hold on their mind and what they want. So if you could give that woman who's listening any type of advice, what would it be?
That's tough. I mean, so when I say like focus on you, I don't mean like you have to do that to find a man. I just feel like when you do that, the one you want will come. While you're doing your thing, whatever it is you want, to do in life. And even if that thing is to be with somebody, because I totally get that. Like, I don't think you have to be this fixed up person, to get to be with somebody good. Because I surely was not.
Right.
So I don't think you need to be that way. But I always felt like, I'll do me, whatever that is, school, whatever, just focusing on me, therapy, whatever. And then the kind of man that I want to attract will hopefully just kind of show up, because I feel like if you don't focus on you, like if you focus on that, then you run through a whole bunch of guys that aren't worth your time. Because I feel like they can sense that stuff. Like I really do. And they go accordingly.
Yeah.
So
You definitely set the tone.
It's just like now, like when you're as a married woman, you go out with your single friends, and I'm telling you, men just can sense that you don't care. Your man at home, they like that. They be like, I like her. She ain't even looking at me. And you're like, oh, where was you when I was single? Or they just can sense that. I feel like, so just keep doing you, but do something social, I guess. But so that's it. Yeah, just keep doing you, improve you.
Okay. So we're moving through this pretty quickly. Do you think love is easy?
So I do think that it is a choice. I think it's something that you have to think about very often. I wouldn't say I don't want to say it's hard, because I don't know. That's a good question. Because so what me and my husband have, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's not tough. Like we just like love each other.
Mhm.
We went through, how we want to communicate to each other. And once we got through that, it was kind of like, you respect me, I respect you. I know you love me and I love you. I know you taking care of me and I'll take care of you. And it's just, I guess in that aspect, it is easy. Like our main things, and I'm kind of getting this from I think her name is Britton Bloom. She's an influencer, and she said, "Have sex and laugh," and that's really it. That's what we do. Like,
Yeah.
don't nobody hear that. If you want me to come out with the scripture, I don't
Yeah.
have it. Have sex and laugh, and just do that. And I'm sure there's other things, but it is easy to some extent with him. Like, it's
Yeah.
just I don't know how to describe it. It's something that you have to. It is something that I work on. That I think, you know what? Let me make sure I'm asking him about his day. Let me make sure his love language is touch. Let me make sure I'm touching him, even though that is not mine. Like you can touch me, but I'd really rather you wash the dishes, and he know that.
Okay.
I like service, right?
Yeah.
um, and just keeping that in mind. I don't know. I just feel like when you find the right one, like a lot of that extra stuff you don't even got to worry about. Or when you find the right one and you're kind of in a good place mentally, then
Yeah.
it's not too hard. So
Yeah. But if you say have sex and laugh, it's like a combination of y'all's two um
mhm,
love languages.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So
mhm.
it's like making me laugh is a form of service, and
It
then
is.
sex is the touch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's
That's true.
perfect for y'all's relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, other ways, but I think
Yeah.
that, and I think that's what's important. Creating your own rules, like
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
works for you. I think the biggest issue in why we struggle so much with not getting what we want, whether it's a relationship or a commitment out of a relationship, is we're trying to do what we're
Yes.
watching everyone else do
Mhm.
instead of focusing on who we are
Mhm.
and really getting a good, like being so self-aware that it doesn't matter what your mom says or
Yes.
what you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
or
no, that's so
see
true.
someone else doing, so that you're like, no, actually, I prefer this. This is what
Mhm.
works for us.
Yep. And I tell people that, like, you gotta, when you get to a place, y'all gotta do what worked for y'all. Because what worked for me may not work for you, may not work for
Yeah,
you. You may not like what I like. I'm kind of simple.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it works for him and it works for me. So, but you might want other things. Don't just look at the pictures, because ain't
Yeah,
nobody taking pictures of arguments or, silly stuff like,
listen.
going to bed. Like, why you do that? Ain't nobody taking pictures of that.
And,
So,
and I always say you can hire. Listen, the person who is fighting over everything can hire a good photographer. That's easy.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? What's going on?
mm-hmm,
What's really going on?
mm-hmm,
Behind the closed doors.
right.
So make your own rules.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, all right. Last question.
Mm-hmm.
What is one piece of game or one piece of advice that has stuck with you, whether it was grandma, your mom, your dad, girlfriend, one piece of advice that has stuck with you throughout your singleness, your engagement, or your married life that you would share with anyone listening?
Okay. So in my married life, not going to bed angry is a
Okay.
really big deal. Like, if we gotta keep talking until 2 in the morning, even though we gotta go to work at 8, we've been to talk, like, because I just when you get through whatever that is, whatever the issue was, because usually it's something that it's not small, but it's like the other person didn't see it the way you saw it, or vice versa. So I'm just mad, and you don't know why, or you mad, and I really don't know why. So I'm really big on making sure that if there's an issue that's like big, that's like making you toss and turn, that we talk about it and come to some kind of conclusion, you know, so that we can sleep better. That also is where that sex and laughing come in again, because that's usually what it ends in.
Look, okay, all right, I'm just in year 3, so I'm still. This is therapeutic for me as well.
It's them. That's the secret right there. Just them two. That's it.
Look, sex and laugh.
And laugh. That's it.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate your time. You know, I understand you're busy, mom, working, wife. So I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you being transparent and just creating more of a safe space for the women who are watching. So thank you so much, Bethany. And for the ladies out there watching, just understand that what you desire is not too much. If there is someone telling you it's too much, they're lying. Okay. You know, wanting to be desired, wanting to be loved, and most importantly, wanting to be committed to is something that is valid. So if you're questioning that, I want to validate your desires right now, because we were both there. And there was someone who was willing to, you know, meet our needs and continuously work with us in order to just, I mean, get through life, get through the day-to-day or whatever struggle. Like, it doesn't have to be such a hard pull, or what's the word I'm looking for? It shouldn't have to be a struggle to ask someone to meet you halfway. So, you know, I always declare and decree that this is going to be the best week of your life, and to always just get God involved. And most importantly, be self-aware. Understand who you are in your relationship, and just be willing to wait for the person that's willing to fight for you every single day. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you on the next episode of Wifey Wisdom. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right.